Okay? I don't want to argue with anybody about this either. I want everybody to understand that I do not see myself as a bigot or a phobic of anybody. I am a bisexual woman. I want everyone to be able to exist however they choose to exist in this world. But I also feel like there is a lot of disrespect and disregarding of women's feelings as it pertains to how we feel about our womanhood and about spaces that are supposed to be for us. And the reason why those spaces are for us. Okay. So I am seeing both sides of this situation. I recognize that all trans people do not feel like the trans person in this video, the one that Jess is responding to. All trans people don't feel that way. All gay people don't feel the way that they feel. So essentially, I'm aware that there were trans people that were not okay with what was being said and that pointed out how problematic old boy was. And I'm going to play some of those during this live. Okay. But let's just go ahead and start. Let's start with the first video and how we all got here.
What I mean when the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own periods, you don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person, but as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like, hello?
Hello. Who the fuck is gonna stand up for us? Who the fuck stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? What's the only difference is you don't have a straitjacket on. Stop talking out your fucking ass. Wake up. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We the only one that fucking bleed, honey. We the only ones that can give birth. We make y'all people. We make y'all. Y'all come from us. You can't be us. You will never. You're chasing something you'll never, ever get. You'll never be that.
Like, hello?
Okay, so that's what Jess had to say. Okay. I feel like Jess was speaking specifically to that video and to that person who said what they said in the original video about cis women gatekeeping womanhood. And my feelings is that the trans girls that are speaking to us are not a part of that clique that they're defending. We're not often having these arguments with trans men who are biologically female. We're not having this conversation with them. So to me, the very first video was antagonistic. I had saw that video several times on my timeline over the past 2 weeks. Maybe a week before Jess responded to it, I saw that video over and over and over again about women aren't, the gatekeepers of periods. And it's like, well, yes, we are, honey. We really, really are. And we're not excluding trans men who are biologically female. We're not excluding them. You're just trying to have an argument with us so that you can have a one-up on us. And you're using the trans men to have your one-up when at the end of the day, the people who have periods are still not trans women. It's still not you. And I feel like a part of the conversation was y'all insinuating that when you have a surgery, a reassignment surgery, whatever bleeding or situation you may have from that, you are trying to say that you can call that a period, that you can call that menstruation. And we're going to disagree. It's not the same. In order to have a period, you have to have ovaries. Biological women, natural born women are not arguing with trans men about this. It's never trans men that are arguing this. And I feel like The original person was the person that was really trying to have a moment, chasing clout, and having a stupid, divisive conversation that really should have continued to be ignored. But the blogs kept posting the shit until somebody finally got tired of seeing it and responded to it. And that person was just hilarious. I am not arguing with anybody about what cisgendered means, because I know what cisgendered means. It means that my gender and my sex align. That's what it means. Okay? I'm aware of that. So it is the same thing as when somebody says they're a natural born woman or a biological woman, because it's obvious that they're already presenting as a woman. So the only thing that you would be questioning is whether they had the parts of a biological woman or not. So when somebody says, I'm a natural born woman, 9 times out of 10, you already know that they're cisgendered, but you want to remind them that they're cisgendered because it makes space for you in the word woman. And you want to be able to tell natural born biological women not to say that we're natural born biological women. You want us not to say that. That offends some of the trans girls. And I just want to say that if you want to argue with me about women being called cisgendered because it's a scientific term, then you should be okay with me arguing with you about calling you a biological male, since those are both scientific terms. Since we now want to make the definitions of woman and man about gender and not about sex as they originally were, that's fine. We're trying to make room for other genders and other expressions of man and woman and everything in between. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with everybody having their rights. I don't have a problem with you being able to go into a stall, bitch. I don't have a problem with that. Like, none of that really bothers me. I go in bathrooms where one person goes all the time, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go into bathrooms where there are stalls. You lock the stall. I'm not really worried, okay? Just in my experience. I'm not bothered by being called cisgendered, but I recognize that some women are offended by being called cisgendered. And I think I understand why. It's because it's the intention behind the word. Once somebody understands it and they say, I still don't like for you to call me that, even though that may be the truth scientifically, I don't want to be called that. I don't like the way it feels. Why can't y'all understand that when that's what y'all ask of cisgendered women, when you want them to not misgender you? When you want to be respected as a woman, and she and her and all of that, and we respect your pronouns and all of that, and identify you the way you want to be identified, that's the respect. So when women say, I understand what cisgender mean, but I don't like when y'all call me that because it makes me feel like I have to say I'm something different to make you feel comfortable. And that's not how any of this works. I was corrected before. I have been corrected by people who wanted to be politically correct and tell me that I could not refer to myself as a natural born woman. I've been told that. I have a problem with that. Because if I can say cisgendered also explains me as someone that presents female and is biologically female, I don't mind being called cisgendered. But I also understand that there are women that hear that word differently. And it's because sometimes when trans women say it to cisgendered women, they say it as a slight, and they say it and it kind of feels like, bitch, push over. Bitch, push over. And we're kind of like, no, bitch, I don't want to push over. Why should I have to push over? Why you can't have your own box? Why do I have to push over in my box? That's kind of what the conversation is going to. And for me, I've been taking a lot of information, and honestly, it is constantly feeling like men telling women what to do, how to feel, what to say. That's what this feels like. Males, people who are biologically male, telling women people who are biologically female, how they should feel, how they should speak, how they should act. That's what this feels like. And we get that enough from heterosexual cisgendered males. And I felt like Jess's point of view was out of frustration with that whole conversation that the first person was having. Maddie came in and I feel like made this about her and Jess and whatever issue they may have, or whatever issue Maddie has with Jess because of the, tone and all of that. You were tone policing Jess, is what you were doing. And then when you tone police Jess, you totally, I feel like, made yourself look worse in this situation because your comments to me were transphobic. There are so many real women, okay, with the quotation marks, because calling us real women, you don't really want to call us real women. It's offensive to you to call us real women. So you're putting this in quotation marks to me to be disrespectful. Like, get the fuck out of here. You're being sarcastic. The quotation marks are to be sarcastic. Real women that get mistaken for being transgender, and you put transgender in quotation marks so that you could try to be consistent. That's what I feel like you were trying to do right there. Women, and that's where a lot of the anger comes from. So Maddie, in this sentence, you are saying to me that real women and or cisgendered biological women, females, get mistaken for biologically male trans women, and that is where the anger is coming from. Baby, I am sorry. I'm sorry to everybody that loves T.S. Madison, but that is fucking projection. That is a projection, my dear. That is a projection. And I know that you were referencing when Jess explained that a man, a celebrity, dropped in her DMs and wanted to pay her to peg him because they believed that Jess was trans. Now, how did you think that Jess was trans when Jess has a son that is very much on her timeline? So that's why I don't understand why that person did not know that you were biologically female. It felt like to me, they were trying to play with you. They were trying to slight you. That's what it sounded like to me. But she seems to believe the person genuinely felt that way. So when T.S. Madison says it in this tweet, it comes off as you using her story where she was confused for a trans woman. You're using that to say that you hope they take a good look at how transphobia affects all women. So you're taking that and throwing that in her face. And I'm gonna say it how it's coming in my head. How it's coming in my head is you saying, bitch, how you gonna be up here being transphobic when you look trans? You should be trying to protect trans women since you look like a trans woman. You wouldn't want somebody to confuse you for a trans woman and hurt you like you've been confused for a trans woman before. And to be clear, calling a biological female who does not have to take estrogen pills in order to have a softer physical frame and facial features and all of those things is offensive. We can pretend like it's not offensive, but this tweet, this response is offensive to Jess. It's also implying that the onus to protect trans women from men is on women. All y'all bitches, y'all might want to be nicer to the trans girls because niggas think y'all us anyway. Like, what are you talking about? This was disrespectful. Yes, Jess suffered from featurism. Yes, let's talk about that. Jess is a brown-skinned, big nose, big mouth black woman. And we know that when you have African features, when you have Negroid features, when you have a bigger nose and a bigger mouth and high cheekbones, people like to masculinize you for looking like black men. that you look like black men because you're a black woman. The fuck? It doesn't mean that you look more masculine. It means you look like the people that you make. You make these niggas. That's why you look like them. They look like you. But the idea of those features being masculine comes from racism and byproduct patriarchy. Okay? So, yeah, we got to deal with the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is you used Featurism to slight her and call her, a trans lookalike when you know she's biologically female. So you're employing racism on some level in your very misogynistic response to her plight. And this is my thing. If you are an advocate for women too, I need to understand why there is no empathy for what women are saying. Why is there no empathy for the fact that we tired of people telling us how to feel and what to do and what the fuck to say? Why is there no empathy for the fact that women are being replaced in certain sports by trans women? Why is it, not being brought to people's attention how in certain environments, trans women are allowed to come into women-only spaces with their penises and make the people who don't have penises feel uncomfortable? There's no empathy for the fact that y'all encroach on spaces. What about the trans girl who went to prison and impregnated the girls on her cell block? We cannot continue to ignore the biology for the sake of people's feelings. And that is not meant to slight anybody. That's not meant to not respect people, to not, protect them. That's not to do any of that. But as a woman, I feel like I have to put women's self-interest and our feelings at the center of my thoughts. I cannot put trans women at my center. I'm not a trans woman. I am a natural born, biological, cisgendered Black woman. And so the women that I identify with, who identify with me, that is going to be at the forefront of my opinion, my sympathy, my forethought. Is going to be about women. And especially in this time when we're the ones losing reproductive rights. Women are the ones who just lost their fucking autonomy over their own bodies in certain states. It is us who are losing the rights to control our bodies. So essentially, a lot of what I have seen from people responding has been one-sided. And y'all have only had sympathy or empathy for the trans girls. Y'all have only made arguments about them being killed, and they're killed by Black men or men, period. And the funny part about it is, as they're killed by men, y'all still lay up with niggas. Y'all don't put niggas on Front Street. Y'all, sometimes y'all do. Sometimes y'all put them on Front Street once they've hurt you. But essentially, y'all keep down low, problematic, aggressive, violent men shielded. And y'all protect them in y'all community. But you want to get on fucking line and argue with women about how we're not protecting you? As we lose all of our rights? And got everybody looking to us all the fucking time to be to blame for everything? I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not attacking trans people's health care. I'm not saying that they're not. But what I'm saying is, when we're having these arguments, y'all don't talk about, or y'all don't make trans women accountable for why Black women are murdered at a large rate. So why is it that it's our fault when men murder y'all, but it's not y'all fault when men murder us? And I'm not saying it is, y'all. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying the onus is on the person that does the fucking murdering, but somehow we end up getting the brunt of most of these arguments. I'm not saying that trans people aren't losing anything. I'm not. But what I am saying is we're not encroaching on trans women's spaces in the same way that we feel they're encroaching on some of our spaces and telling us to shut up about it. Speaking on behalf of trans men who aren't even arguing with anybody. And what bothers me is I feel like everybody negates the fact that trans women and some gay men, some trans women, let me say that, some trans women and some gay men are fucking misogynistic. They are male-centered, and then they like men. So you're going to see women as competition when you like straight men. And a lot of y'all like straight men. Y'all laugh and kiki about it online all the time about how y'all don't really see it for each other or other gay men as much as y'all like straight men. Which means a lot of y'all are okay with being hidden and being the other woman. So you want me to believe that a lot of our interactions online don't come from that space when the first thing that T.S. Madison basically said was that real women are jealous of trans women and that's why we're upset? I'm just saying. Hold up. So these are some more of the comments. Why are y'all so jealous with natural born women? We are the gatekeepers of periods and womanhood. T.S. Madison said, okay, girl, you talking to the wrong person right now. Okay. I respectfully disagree. She wasn't speaking about being mistaken for a man, but that man saying that women don't own their periods, that honestly is just crazy because we most certainly do. T.S. Madison says, I'm speaking of her always having a tone towards transgender women, and she's admitted to being mistaken for one on many occasions. So you're tone policing Jess. But we're not allowed to tone police y'all and assess that when y'all talk to us sometimes, it's coming from a place of jealousy. It's coming from a place of resentment, like a lot of these niggas. And it ain't just trans women. Heterosexual cisgendered men resent us, hate us, and are jealous of us too. So why should you be any different? And I'm not saying that in every case, y'all. Please don't misunderstand me. I am specifically talking about the people we are discussing on the screen. Oh God, here we go, attacking real women today. I promise you, real women have more important things to worry about. I haven't attacked one real woman with this post. Did you not attack Jess? Was that not an attack, or are you continuing to insinuate that Jess is not a real woman? Man, because Jess Hilarious has truly blew me today. Alexa, play Jealous Girls. That's not how you spell it, but I'm going to just assume that was a typo. Again, T.S. Madison, you feel like Jess Hilarious is jealous of you. And I'm trying to understand why. Because to me, it doesn't even make sense for you to say that somebody is jealous of you because they get mistaken for you, because being mistaken for a trans woman is not a compliment to a natural born biological cisgendered woman. It is not a compliment. I'm sorry. That's no disrespect, but it's not a compliment. So how would she then be jealous? I don't understand. And listen, I don't think this is a generalization to anybody, because I'm not making a generalization. And I feel like Jess was speaking on that video that we watched. I feel like T.S. Madison is speaking on Jess Hilarious. And it's because T.S. Madison has to perform a united front. And so when we have these other videos coming up, these other videos saying the same thing about how we jealous of y'all and shit, then it starts to become the trans girl versus the biological girls. But the blogs were not helping. The blogs were not giving any real equal they just, it wasn't equal. It wasn't showing all sides of it.
And I'm coming at y'all to discuss a video that I think is utter and pure foolishness. Okay. I don't know how many of you all are actually familiar with my actual content, but if you're familiar with my content, I keep it real. I try to be as open and honest as I possibly can, and I try to do so in a way that speaks to a multitude of intersections at one time. And I recently was sent a video by the last, I guess, blog space that I have not blocked, because everybody is blocked except these people, which is the only reason I was able to see this video, of a trans woman who is talking about cis women's ability to own periods and all of the things and womanhood and all of that stuff.
I'm sorry. To be clear, I don't think anyone is coming to take periods. I don't think that's what this is about. This is not about actual periods. That's stupid. Everybody knows who has fucking periods. This is not what that's about. To me, this is about asserting dominance and taking over spaces. And then this is about people trying to get clout. This person on the video right now is trying to get clout. Jess, I feel like, should not have even responded to the video, but they did respond to this person's. Jess responded to this person's video. This is not really about periods. And this is not about including non-binary and trans men, because guess who's not a part of this conversation right now? Trans men and non-binary women. That's the people that's not a part of this conversation. This turns into a trans women versus cisgendered biological women, because there are trans girls that feel this way. There are trans girls that are in competition with natural born cisgendered women. There are a whole bunch of misogynistic trans girls that don't really like women. They don't. And they show that in the way they interact with women when they like to hold their femininity over biological women's heads, like, bitch, we more fishy than you and all of that. And don't even get me into the etymology of the word cisgendered and how that sounds like cis, sister, cis, which also sounds like fish. Like etymology, words that may not have the same meaning but sound alike and connect on some level. Yeah. Words have secret meanings and they're supposed to invoke some type of feeling or thought. And so sometimes you have to pay attention to these things. I am never saying that all trans women feel that way, which is why I'm playing this video of a trans woman that does not feel that way. This was not on the blogs though. They didn't put Hope Giselle on the blogs. Shout out to one of my followers that sent it to me.
You don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But
that condescending ass tone. Zari, do you really think this person right here is, do you really think that Jess is jealous of this person here that we're having this conversation about? Because I'm going to say it again, like I've been saying consistently, I'm not talking about all trans people or all women. I'm speaking on behalf of women who feel like me, that we feel like we're being pushed around by everybody and only one side is being protected. Only one side is being excused for their disrespectful words. We're only policing Jess. We're only policing women who we view as transphobic. In this one situation, I do not feel like there's jealousy on both sides. I do not believe that Jess Hilarious, as beautiful as she is, with her BBL body, just like T.S. Madison, and her long weaves and makeup artists contouring her face, just like T.S. Madison, I do not believe that she is jealous of this trans girl here for performing femininity better than her. I don't. I think some people get tired of conversations that come off Like y'all are just trying to be disrespectful and upset people. And that's what I feel like happened here. But let me continue on and let Hope Giselle get her opinion.
Trans women do not, cannot, it is physically impossible to menstruate. The same way that we tell cisgender men to mind the business that pays them when we are speaking about biological issues that happen in trans men and cisgender women is the same energy that we should have for transgender women seeking to insert their 2 cents in conversations that have nothing to do with the trans femme and the male body.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. I just wanted to be clear because I want everybody to understand that I'm sure that there are some women that come into contact with somebody like Hope Giselle and is like, damn, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you can look at someone like that and absolutely be like, damn, that bitch, ugh. You know what I'm saying? She is sticking, okay? Yes, but I feel like that's not what we're talking about right here. And I do feel like on a larger scale, there are more trans women that are, you know, might have some resentment or jealousy towards cisgender biological women. I feel like that happens more than a biological woman looking at a trans woman and being jealous because they perform femininity better. I feel like that's not happening as much. I do feel like people are homophobic, people are transphobic, people don't give a fuck about your feelings, they're disrespectful. I do agree. There are ain't shit cisgendered women, just like there ain't shit trans women. And I feel like if we're really trying to protect everybody, then we would have checked the original person instead of making it about Jess like T.S. Madison did. Hope Giselle's message cut straight to the chase.
What I am saying is that cisgender women are not the only people that menstruate. Howsoever, if you are a transgender woman that cannot menstruate, right? What you need to understand is that that conversation is for cisgender women, non-binary AFAB people, and trans men to have. What I do not like is how some of the girls speak their delusions into obscurity and expect us all to be able to have copacetic conversations, right? Copacetic conversations with people who are actively in a position to make our lives a living hell. What I also want folks to understand is that when it comes down to it, the folks who own the function own the function. There is nothing that you can do to take away the fact that those people own that function. Transgender men, non-binary AFAB people, and cisgender women own menstruation. End of story. There is no way to slice that cake differently. There is no way to piece it together. There is no PC, no whitewash, no myriad of terms that you could come up with to justify the idea of why a transgender woman should be having the conversation about owning a menstrual period, because we quite physically, literally, and in most spaces, all of the literalies cannot menstruate. Why are you going back and forth with these people about having a period? Why are we making the conversation harder for us? And why are we putting ourselves in positions where people then turn around and use this as a way to then make it harder for your sisters? What we need to understand as a full community, and what we have to get as a full community, is that at the end of the day, what you do reflects on the rest of the people around you. Also, what I want to say is that never have I ever said that having a period makes or breaks you a woman. At the end of the day, when I included people who have periods, did I not say trans men and AFAB non-binary people? I did. So I'm not saying that cisgender women are only women because they have periods. I am not saying that transgender women are not women because they don't menstruate. What I am saying is that sometimes minding the business that pays you and keeping it cute and on mute and in the group chat will save everybody a bunch of turmoil. Because what happens with videos like this is that they go viral for all the wrong reasons, and then trans people who are not in the business of shaking the table for a view have to deal with all of this. What a lot of you all don't understand, just like I explained to y'all with the Rose Montoya situation, your actions are not your own when you represent groups of marginalized people, because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, what you do reflects badly on every single person that is a part of that margin, which is the same exact reason why all it took was for one black man with locks to do something that people didn't like, and now every black man with locks is unprofessional and a thug, which is the same reason why all it takes is for one person to see one black woman get a little bit out of character, and now every black woman is known for being out of character, which is the same reason for why you have a couple of trans girls that engage in sex work, and now every single person that meets a trans woman thinks that she has an OnlyFans. Because at the end of the day, when you are in the margins and people have very small-minded ideas about how you show up, you have to be mindful when you are on public platform about how you make that entire community look. Because whether you want to be or not, whether you signed up to be or not, whether it's your calling or not, you have become a spokesperson, advocate, and face for that community. And so therefore, your words, your actions, the things that you do reflect on the entirety of the community. There are very small windows for error when it comes to being a trans woman in a climate that says that we should not exist and is actively figuring out ways to eradicate us.
And also at a time when they just took all of the women's reproductive rights away, and you want to tell us that we don't own something that they literally, it's a part of what they just took from us. And then you get online and tell us that we don't own it. Y'all, that's inflammatory. I see a lot of people in the comments, I'm thinking they just meant not to exclude. It doesn't fucking matter. Nobody asked you. You're still not a part of that group. And that's my point. Hope understands that. Hope is a trans woman. So I'm trying to understand why T.S. Madison couldn't understand that shit. Okay? Now, Zari, girl, are you saying that you're married to a trans man? Is that what you're telling me? But I didn't agree with what the first one did my wife at are you married to a trans woman? Because it caused a divide and the comments felt generalized. So that's all I was responding. And I understand that. I do. And that's why I prefaced this with saying that I'm not making no generalizations. I'm not making any generalizations. I'm saying some and a portion of. Okay? But I'm not making generalizations on everybody. I'm speaking to that specific person's video. I'm speaking to Jess's response to that specific person's video. Then I'm responding to T.S. Madison, responding to people, and I feel like being transphobic in a way she was trying to read at the end of the day. Okay? Now I understand. I got people in my life that are trans men. And they don't want no problems with nobody. So I don't understand why everybody can't see that some of the trans girls are using this argument so that they can have fights with women because they got issues with women. Bitch mad at their mama because their mama didn't accept them. Bitch mad at women because the nigga that they was in love with chose some bitch. Like, whatever. Okay, yes, the same people taking reproductive rights are the people who will take the sexual identity from them just as quick. Exactly. And I also feel like there is still a part of this conversation, and I'm not going to lie, I appreciate Tasha K for bringing up, which was the part about how y'all hide these niggas from being accountable for their actions a lot of the time unless you mad at them. Y'all don't protect us as women in those relationships that y'all have sometimes. And I'm not saying every trans girl is in a relationship like that, but I'm just saying at large numbers, it feels like a lot of trans girls like straight or cisgender presenting men. And a lot of those men have relationships with cisgendered heterosexual women. And those relationships are kept under wraps to protect the men. And so I feel like a lot of times I wish that y'all would take some of y'all's anger out on the men who really harm y'all, who really put y'all in fucked up situations, that create triangulation between everybody. But as a woman, I felt like everybody, you know what I'm saying? T.S. Madison, Laverne Cox, Angelica from Pose, who I feel like has always had somewhat of a nasty energy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This one.
Hey, I'm gonna just keep it a bug. A lot of cisgender women are just unhappy. Let's use the term that they love. A lot of real women are really unhappy. A lot of real women are really unhappy. A lot of real women are really insecure.
Do you see how she's using the real word to be disrespectful to us? That's why cisgendered is a problem. Because it's not that the word is an issue, it's the way it's being used in these conversations.
And a lot of real women are really bothered that trans women really look better than they really do. Since they really want this real word, bitch, you can have it. Girl, you can have it. Girl, it's not my fault that you mistaken my happiness and my femininity as a challenge. Sweetie, when I was identifying how feminine I was and how far I wanted to go and how I wanted my inside to match my outside had nothing to do with you. Okay? Because it seems like y'all only have so much to say when it comes to competition. It really seems like y'all only have so much to say when it comes to tearing somebody else down. Girl, don't nobody want to be you. Girl, don't nobody want to be you. Let's be clear, Miss Thing. A lot of you don't want to be you. Bitch, I speak very frequently and openly about my penis, about the type of sex I have, about the type of men that I'm attracted to. Girl, don't nobody want to be you. Y'all are just mad that people are really out here moving and happy, and y'all are really mad that people are being mistaken for you and getting more respect than you do. That has nothing to do with us. That is not a reason why you should be disrespecting us and trying to make...
I just want to say, if Cherry the Boom is getting more respect than women, it's because people respect males more than women. I'm sorry, because it's funny to me, like you like literally about to use misogyny as a way to shade us. But yeah, it's giving misogyny. It's giving you using misogyny against women.
Make it a big thing. Girl, don't nobody want no period. Don't nobody want no motherfucking kids, because a lot of you hoes don't want no kids. A lot of y'all only having these motherfucking kids to keep a man around.
Yeah, and some of y'all are okay with keeping those same men around, even when they still with those same women that's having kids to keep them around. Like you real aggy. And the funny part about it is, don't nobody want no period, bitch. Then what the first girl talking about? You see what I'm saying? Now y'all just making it worse. Y'all making it worse. I ain't even about to continue with this. Real what Yanni said, it's crazy how the trans community just stepped right over the disrespect that was thrown at biological women just to put on this victim act. They went from bullying women, verbally abusing women, and now last resort, victim card.